we get past that through individual examples, like I said, from people who consider themselves to be leaders who don't agree with that. Because like I said, some people, they need to be guided in a way, but there is nothing that I think that we are prohibited from achieving economically here. I mean, if you don't believe that you can go out and get a job from someone else or someone of another nation, then go get a job yourself. Make a job.
Own business,
go out
right.
and go to the small business bureaus and get loans. They're giving loans for retail, to start retail stuff, especially for our community, because it's become a big issue of pushing job creations within our community. Reach out to a lot of these foundations that go out their way to help people to start their own businesses. I mean, you got to get up and go do something. You can't keep sitting at home and complaining about things not changing when you're not willing to get up and go change them. I mean, like, to me, I've come so far just in the last, I'd say about 5 years, just in growing as a man, from the example of the men in my family, you know, being around them more, attaching myself to the hip of them, that's shown me that there's nothing I can't do. Nothing. But I just have to put in the hard work to get it done. And there are going to be obstacles that's going to pop up in my way. But if I'm steady working hard, it may take me a while to get through, but I'm going to bust through that obstacle. I just got to believe that I can get through it. And I got to believe in myself, and that's important, that we believe in ourselves. The Most High believe in us. He wouldn't have put us through it if he didn't. So we got to believe in ourselves that we can overcome. And he told us to get out, build houses, plant vineyards. They're giving loans to do things like that. So we need to get out there and go get those loans. Go out there. Or if you don't want to get loans, come together with a group of people that you trust. Get your money together and start doing something to create jobs in your community.
Right. And, you know, the thing that I would tell you is those teachings of Marcus Garvey and those people who considered themselves Garveyites, who some of them actually went on to profess to be Israel and things of that nature, that was the idea that our land would be for us and we would have to understand how to work it. So in order to understand how to work and to understand how to do business with one another, we can't think that we're going to just go into Israel, start doing business, and understand how to properly do business. We have to practice those principles here so that when we go into the land, we can actually be a functioning nation. But I thank you for your responses, brother. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, I just want to say that you're absolutely correct on that part. I mean, if you even notice, when we went into every captivity we went into, we came out with new skills from being in that captivity. So I think that it's important that we understand that we're going to learn from this captivity. And everything that we learn from this captivity is supposed to be used in the kingdom and implemented in order to set it up. So if we're not, like you said, if we're not doing the economic things here, we're not going to do them in the kingdom. You're going to be a servant instead of a ruler in the kingdom. The Most High expects a lot of us. You know, that's why he chose us. So we need to go out there and work to be the best people that we can be in every aspect of our lives. And I think that's one important thing about being an RBG. We think, well, I think in Israelite in general, that you have to be willing to go through the mental rigorous studies. You have to be willing to put your body through the training that's necessary to survive, and you got to be willing to eat right and correctly and take care of yourself. And I mean, it's hard to do it. I'm struggling to get it all done right now, but like I said, we all got to work towards that because that's what the Most High expects of us, because we have to prepare for that kingdom life, not sit here and just say, oh, we're stuck in captivity and we can't get beyond it. No, that's a lie. You know, with the blood of Christ, all my shackles are set free. So I can do everything I need to do right here in America in order to help my people go reach another level. But like I said, we all have to be willing to put in that work. And then next thing you know, things are changing and we're moving closer to to where the Most High wants us to be, for him to come and redeem us out this captivity. We can go into our own lands and set up the kingdom the way it's supposed to be set up.
IBA?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So, Brother James, so what was it that brought you, Brother Divine Prospect, and the various other brothers together? What did it take to bring you guys together to be a force and to come up with the things you're doing today?
One of the things that brought us together is a passion and love for our people and understanding who we are and the responsibilities we have. We understand that we each have unique perspectives to bring to the community that are different from what's already out there. And we understand that there's going to be differences that we have, and we can all sit down and actually have conversation about those differences without it being some aggressive or, boisterous or gang-bang type intellectual thing. We can sit down, we can talk to each other, and we can, bring these things to the community to the forefront so we can show our people that there is a way to overcome these curses that we have. But also, look, we don't have to forget about the curses. We don't have to forget about what we've been through, and we should want justice for what our people have been through. And that we're not turning our blind eye to that, but we understand that we want what's best for our people right here, right now. And that's what the RBG movement has always been about, and reaching out to the people who are of the diaspora all across the world, not just here in America, but we understand that if we can't do it right here, right now, then reaching out to them is pointless, because what do we have to give them? We're in the most prosperous place in the world, and if we can't succeed here to reach out to them in order to help them, then what are we reaching out to them for?
All right, I'm feeling that, and I most definitely love it. Is there a specific political ideology that you guys subscribe to?
Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't say that there's a specific political ideology that we subscribe to, but if they were to put us under a quote-unquote ideology, they would call us alt-right, to be honest.
And why would you say alt-right, if you don't mind answering?
Well, because a lot of our views, because they're pretty much hardcore Bible views, they're conservative views in the political arena. And the reason I say alt-right is because our group is looked at as fringe or extremist groups. So therefore they put them in an alt category, or sometimes even, they go as far as saying we're racial extremists, so they'll put us in the alt category, even though all of us aren't that. But that's just the way they go about doing things like that on a political level in order to categorize people to easily attack them.
And do you personally see yourself, or do you consider yourself alt-right, or more conservative than anything else, personally?
Definitely conservative more than anything else, because, like I said, if you have hardcore biblical moral views, you're automatically fall under that conservative umbrella on a political level. Now, as far as the alt, no, I wouldn't consider myself that, but that it doesn't really, matter what we really consider ourselves. As much as they try to push the subjective view, they will categorize you, throw a label on you, and then drag you through the mud with it or lift you high with it. So, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, most definitely, I do agree. And I'm aware that you guys are trying to take this beyond the internet. I'm not even going to ask you that. So with that being said, what is the overall goal of all you brothers coming together? And I know locally you guys are doing things in your where you live at, but beyond locally, what is the goal?
Well, the goal is to become a national force on the economic and political level, because unless we become one, then we're always at the bottom. You see that there's people that come here from all over the world, and they can lean on their own people to give them loans, to buy apartment complexes, to start small businesses, to do all types of things, and we don't have that here. That's one of the biggest complaints of our people, is that we don't have access to funds. And something that we want to do is help our people find access to these funds and come together collectively to galvanize the funds in order to support our people. And I think another big goal is for us to, if you want to call it, to have our own type of political party in order for the best interest of our people here in America, to put our money, to tell us what we need to put our money towards pushing and what we need to take our money away from. Because, like, in America, we have tremendous spending power as a people. We spend billions upon billions of dollars in a year. Women do it on weed. You see what I'm saying? Guys do it on buying cars, watches, almost $1 trillion. If we could put that money towards really pushing a good image of our people on a global level, in a propaganda, because we have to do our own propaganda because we see the propaganda that they do of us. A lot of nations come to America and don't deal with us just because of what they see on TV. They think we're all gangbangers and killers and robbers or in the club acting all crazy and stuff like that. They don't see us as people who can really be about business and pushing our people forward. Because like I tell a lot of the brothers that I talk to from the One West and other perspectives, even when we look at what the Most High had Moses do, he had him go talk to the Pharaoh and present a political matter. We want to go out here and serve our God, because that's what politics was back in the day, what God you serve. So it was done on a political level, on a political stage. But like I said, we have to have that strength. We have to have that political and economic strength and galvanize it, because we have the advantage of being here in America. And if we can galvanize it nationally, then we can send it to our people all over the world and gather that great, great multitude that the Most High talks about. But we're going to have networks set up to do that. And I believe the Most High has given us the ability to do that, and given a lot of us the inspiration and will to push towards doing that. Because the Most High expects a lot of us, like I said earlier, not for us to just sit back and do nothing. There's always been things that we had to do, groundwork and foundations that we had to lay, and we have to be prepared to do it. And if you're not prepared to do it, I think it's best that a lot of people just be quiet talking about how much they are about Israel, because being about Israel is about galvanizing our people. Come together, O nation undesired. That's what the Most High said, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Yo, Sal, we got any callers on standby? Sal?
Well, Sal may have to step away for a quick second, but I
hey, Shalom, if I may, can I ask a question?
Oh,
this is Moray. Okay, so I heard about the plans that you guys got going forward. Is there like a tentative timeline that you guys have in place to try to get something done, or is this just like a filling out process right now?
I think right now a lot of the groundwork is being laid in a lot of areas, and it's really about the grassroots upstarts right now. So, and it's hard to put a timeline on grassroots upstarts, because it's really about the people getting out there and doing it and being inspired. And right now it's in the inspiration phase. Like, we have to inspire people to understand that we can come above the levels that we're at right now. Once we can wrap people around it, and that we as the leaders are individually implementing these things in our lives, and then able to show it out to the forefront to people and the people that are close and around us, then we'll be able to take it on a more scaled level. We'll be able to scale it to a higher level where we can set it up in different communities and kind of just unwrap it like charters all around America. But right now I don't think that we can set a timeline on it because it's really based on the people and their move to do the things that they're inspired to do by the Most High. And I think that everyone has deep desires in their heart that they want to do because the Most High put it there because our nation needs it. But they have to be willing to move and act on it. That's why I brought up faith earlier. They have to have faith that they can actually do these things and push and not let nothing get in their way until they do it. And when that happens, then it'll just, boom, jump off.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So is there and I'm just, I kind of came in late on this conversation. I just wanted to understand. Did you say that you're trying to set this off in Houston first?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yes,
I'm trying to do it on my Houston, but Divine has his things going on in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You have other brothers all over the U.S. that has their little things going on. The thing is, I think that would be very powerful is that, number one, we come up with some type of core curriculum that is outside of doctrine, based on just the core beliefs and the different historical and archaeological things that we can do to teach that to our children. I think that's one of the foundational things that we need to come together and do, because everyone's going to have their own views and perspectives on what the scriptures conveying to them. But I think if we could lay that groundwork to where we can teach this across the board to any Hebrew Israelite child, something that doesn't, step on any doctrine toes, I think that'll be something that really helps with the educational phase, because it's likely not going to be our generation that makes the moves. It's normally the generation beforehand that inspires the next generation to make the moves that's needed, and we need to educate that next generation so they can implement a lot of the plans that we won't be able to implement in the time we're in now, because all new plans take time to catch fire, and it usually takes about 10 years or so before good plans really catch fire and blaze out.
Yo, this is BA. I've been just informed that we have another guest on the panel. For that other guest, we'll allow the brother to step up and announce himself and introduce himself to the audience and to the panel.
Hey, am I good? Can you hear me, brother?
You sound a little far away. Yeah, you sound a little far away.
Okay, let me fix this. 1 second.
All right.
All right. Should be better now. How about now?
Yeah, there we go. What's going on, my brother?
That's better.
It's Michael Edwards, by the way.
All right, yeah. Well, man, peace to everybody here. I'm not sure who's in the conversation right now, but I want to say peace, shalom, Black power, Pan-Africanist power, RBG power to everybody in the room. And I'm sorry I'm late because my phone, had the phone company is trying to charge me to call in. So I don't know if y'all experienced that, but yeah, we got it straightened out. So I'm glad I'm here, brothers. Glad I'm here. Everybody probably knows who I am, so I've been around Blog Talk a minute.
Oh, yeah. Michael Edwards is in the building. We appreciate you. And, of course, what you been up to lately before we ask you some questions in regards to the RBG Hebrews? What you been up to?
Man. Well, I've been up to really the same thing since the last show, man. I do work with children every single month. It's a singing group, and it's a group where I teach children music and music arts, and even vocals and whatnot. So I'm doing that, and we got a good summer blowout coming up in Temecula, California. And definitely I've been working on teaching my brothers, not just the older brothers at my age, but younger brothers in the Hebrew Israelite culture here in America, in North America, teaching them how to identify more so with our ancient eclectic culture that includes Israelites, not as the whole of our identity. Truly, the story of our past is an eclectic story. It is a blended story. It's an amalgamated story. And so I try to teach that to my people so that we can have more of a balanced truth when we teach, and we have more of a historical balance and a grip on history when we teach in our evangelism. I think that's very important for the perception of us from the people to us, that we are seen as competent people, not simply separatists, but we're competent, educated, well-schooled, and well-trained, and we love our people. So that those two things really is my main goal in my teaching. I do a lot of YouTube stuff. I do a lot of chastising. I do a lot of teaching and everything on my YouTube channels, RBG Hebrew 2. So that's just who I am. That's what I've been doing, man. Just serving the people in whatever way I can and trying to stay blessed, brother.
All right, just to let you know, we have three gentlemen asking questions tonight. We have Brother B.A. He's the host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk. We also have Anonymous Hebrew, who's the co-host of that same segment, Man Up. And we also have Moray Yeefdock here, and they're all going to ask you questions one at a time. So, Brother B.A., you're going to ask some questions. Go ahead, you can start.
Yeah, what's the word, Brother Edwards? It's been a minute. How you been, Art?
Hey, man, how you doing, brother? You know what? I know your name. I've never seen your face. I know you from the Google Hangout, right?
Yeah, I'm out here in Sacramento.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've heard you say that before. Yes, I remember who you are, brother. Shalom to you.
Yo, shalom, Art. Earlier, Brother James, he had mentioned this, that a political party is something that could be an idea. Have you guys already decided to come to those terms? Is that in the process of moving forward, or what is your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a very good question. I talked to Brother James Smalls about this 2 years ago, and I put the video on my channel. I talked to the brother about whether a political party is even feasible, and I think for the masses of black people across the United States, I don't think it's the time yet for that. But within the house of Israel and our brothers and sisters, I think that we have a better shot at completing it, not just starting it and letting it fester and fall off. But I think we have a better shot than anybody else in the community, in the black community, because we have a base of brothers that have a network, And so that those simple things are very important to starting a political party. Us knowing who we are, us having communication between us and brotherhood, so that when you start your party, you'll be able to trust those that are working beside you and signing papers and speaking for you. And so I think a political party for us, Israelites, would be great in the sense that our political party helps us to meld into local governments and local application of law. If we're looking for a political party that's going to deal with Democrat and Republican and Independent and other, I think that's a wasteful undertaking. But I think if we're making a political party and shooting for those goals that can be met point by point and day by day with our people, fight the battles that can be won, I think that's where we should start. And so I think, we should start a political party, and that can be done, but it has to be done at a very, very, very grassroots level so that everybody in the political party can know the gravity of what we're doing and be on the same page. So, yes, I think it's a great idea, brother, and I think we can do that.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate your answer. When it comes to the RBG Hebrew movement, as we can see overall as an Israelite community, there are some pros and cons, and there are some things that we're improving on, and there are some things that we do still need improvement. How can the RBG Hebrew perspective help those things we are lacking in when it comes to economics, doctrine, etc.?
Beautiful. Man, you got some great questions. The RBG Hebrew movement, like I said before, I see it as an umbrella that covers more than one particular school of thought and one community. And I think the first element of the benefit of the RBG movement is unity, bringing us together, because there is no steps that can be made as a group without numbers. And so, again, we, RBG Hebrews, most of the brothers that I know pride themselves on reaching out across community lines, across religious lines, and, unifying in solidarity where we can meet. You know what I'm saying? We have principles that we can't just trample as us brothers, as Israelites, but there are certain places where we can meet and operate like the governments of the world to the degree that it's productive, you see, because China and the United States have always been literal enemies, but when they sit down at the table, they don't carry that to the table. And our RBG collective black story, bringing in and using and dealing with other brothers, I think that will push us quicker. I think that'll push us quicker. And there was something you said at the last part of your question. Can you give me the last part of it again? Because it was something you said that I wanted to address. The very last B section of your question.
Yeah, actually, BA called this drop. It's called this drop.
No.
When you call it, yeah, BA, call back in, brother. Call back in, and we'll bring you back in. But Anonymous Hebrew, I guess you can take over until BA gets back. That Anonymous.
Yeah, shalom, brother Edwards. How you doing?
Shalom, man. How you doing? Anonymous Hebrew, that's your name?
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, that's what I go by. But
yeah, that's very good to
my
make
Hebrew
your
name. Good to meet
what
you
is it,
too.
brother?
My Hebrew name is Sadiq Ben Israel. So I ain't want to just
Sadiq.
tell you. Yes, true. Yes.
Indeed, brother Sadiq. I got you, man. I appreciate you, and I respect you for whatever you call yourself. Yeah.
Appreciate you. I just wanted to kind of, I guess, pick up a little bit where Brother B.A. left off. So, and Brother Cassell was talking about it some in terms of trying to unify everything, and even the Moray had touched on it some. When you end up in some of these conversations, you're dealing with people who have been in these communities for 20 to 30 years. And it does seem to be a lot of pushback about trying to unify for whatever reason. If you're new to this movement, you're new, you've done a lot of study, you're ready to go, however the situation works. What is the best way to go about trying to get involved in the grassroots movement, and maybe if you have to, bypassing some of the elders without being disrespectful? Like, how do you suggest people go about doing this in terms of trying to unify the movement and kind of passing up those that aren't really about unity?
Mm-hmm. Well, another good question, man. I think that the elders, our elders, whether they be, Israelite elders or just our elders in our family, I think that's a very core element to building any undertaking that leads to nationhood. And so I see, like, the elders in our Israelite community, and I all the time I refer to Nasi Father because I respect Principal in a great way. You know what I mean? And just to see that brother has kept his flock together, and there's young people coming through all the time, and they always productive. You know what I mean? I see Principal and us having our elders with us. I see that as like one of the main things, other than unifying and reaching out to other people, because even when we get to the point when we're dealing with people with problems and people don't want to be productive or people don't want to unify, I think our elders see a whole different perspective on how we can unify, how we can come to the table together, So the elders, I think, have to stay, have to be vocal in our movement, and it's just that way even in the scriptures, We are to always honor our elders and seek them for wisdom and counsel, you know what I mean? And so I think that'll be one brick that we can lay that would definitely stay, because we got some great elders. We got some great elders in the Israelite community. But a lot of people don't like to submit to that at all, And that could be a problem. But, again, if you have elders, you have a certain level of control and a certain level of respectability. Yeah, so I
agree.
I see that as one of those
answer.
elements. Indeed.
I appreciate that. I think that's a great answer. So then, just to kind of land back to follow up off of that, then if we move forward as a community, right? And I think Brother Cassell, he had some good explanations of this for you, what does the RBG movement bring? Like, what does it look like for the future from the RBG perspective?
Oh, y'all must have wrote these questions down a week ago. These some good questions.
Honestly, we just freestyling. It's just, we really care about the community.
Intelligent brother,
and
man.
I think this is some stuff. Wait till you deal with the Moray. The Moray got some good ones too. So
yeah, hit me with that one more time. It's such a good question. I gotta make sure.
Patiently wait.
I missed BA's end of that one, so I don't want to drop it on this one. Give me that one more time.
Just to be real brief, like, what does the future look like from the RBG perspective? Like, what does it look like going forward from the RBG perspective?
Okay. I think our future from RBG Hebrew perspective is and should be and really will be more so the reinvigoration of a group like the UNIA. We already have the pattern. You see, we have a skeleton sitting in our closet that, the people took away Marcus Garvey to kick him out the country, and the UNIA ended up being what it festered into. But we still have the pattern, the blueprint. And the UNIA, again, was made up of Catholic Marcus Garvey, Abyssinians, Moors, and everything else you could think of, even some Turkish folk and some white people sprinkled in throughout. So I think our movement looks like the UNIA, meaning all-inclusive, not just separatist Israelites building a political party, but us being the leaders, like the scriptures command us, to be priests and light to the nations. Once they see us moving in that vein and we're able to just embrace them in love and still teach, I think our thing will be real big. And that's the actual goal, to not just minister to our people, but to actually find the lost, like the scripture says, and bring them in and not kill them, to help them. And the UNIA was a great pattern.
That's a great answer, brother. I'm gonna fall back for a second. I'm gonna let the Moray get to him because he is the elder, and I do want to be respectful. Go ahead, Moray.
Indeed. Let me greet Moray. Moray, is that Moray Ishaya? Which one?
Moray Yiftach. Moray Yiftach Ben Down.
Okay. Okay, brother. I got you. Shalom to you. And greetings to James, Brother James. Brother Yaakov.
Okay, shalom, Brother James. Peace and blessings unto you. Glad you can get on. Okay, I got a couple of questions for you. So the first one I want to ask is, you're familiar with the rapper Kanye West and his current statements and the news which he made on TMZ concerning slavery being a choice after 400 years? Are you familiar?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Okay. In reference to that, to us as a people, do you let me see how I'm trying to put this in a way. Do you feel that comments like that are divisive to a movement like that RBG is creating? And do you feel that statements like that are conducive to us unifying as a people?
Beautiful. Another beautiful question. I think the statements like that must be dealt with and put on the table in a time such as this, when we have such a great awakening all across the United States of young brothers, young sisters, older brothers being awakened, older sisters being awakened. I think that we ought to be able to have that conversation and not take 1 million people and crucify Kanye for saying something that's really a truth in today. I have to direct you to, and after the show, nobody, please don't leave us on the line and go. RBG Hebrew 2 and RBG Hebrew 4 on YouTube, I've been teaching about this for the last 2 days. And I taught that Kanye West is literally a microcosm of Black America. Black America is the macrocosm, and Kanye is literally the walking embodiment of all of our ills across every community line, in every single way. And in that truth, that way, Kanye was actually, in my opinion, brother, and I believe the Spirit is speaking through not Kanye, but the whole issue, that we all need to take a look at the choices that we make. Because I was teaching today to Brother Daz Dillinger. I don't want to get long-winded, but Daz is a rapper, a West Coast rapper. And this brother joined the attack, right? And everybody piled on Kanye, and now this brother here is doing the more sick thing. Other than marrying a white woman, excuse me, other than actually embracing Donald Trump, which would be Nebuchadnezzar in today's time. Other than that, this brother here got on camera and tried to get the young brothers that are Crips to aggress this man, kill him, beat him up, do whatever to him. And so when we're looking at that, we can look at the truth in what Kanye said. Whether Kanye is off his rocker or not, even crazy people and mentally ill people say truths. If they got to go to the bathroom, they really do got to go. And I don't think it was a divisive comment of Kanye. I think it was just an untactful series of words that he said and didn't really know what he was saying. But the truth is that we make terrible. I'm sorry. Let me close it and now I'll get right on.
No, go.
We make. I'm sorry, but I think we make terrible decisions, and then we blame even our blessings. Like somebody come give you a nice bed, we get in the bed, fall asleep, wake up too late for work, and then we get fired, and we come home and blame the bed. See, we blame the bed, we blame the person that blessed us with it, instead of us taking accountability for the amount of prostitutes in our community, the amount of aborted children every day, hundreds in America still today, the amount of gangbangers and the dope and all of the pornography in every wretched way that is against God and against resurrection of the black man. When we can't address it and say, yeah, you know what, we got a problem, then we literally become what Kanye was talking about and what Kanye is. So I think it's a good question. Kanye put it out there, a good statement rather, just was said in a bad way, and I don't think he had the wherewithal to teach against his comeback. You know, and like I said, man, I want y'all really to check those videos out, because I touched on a lot of things in these 3 videos concerning that our people just really need to hear. Let me give you one, and then I'll shut up and let you hit it again. But I said the question of the century: why are we still here in America? Not just as Israelites, but as people. Well, we know pursuant to prophecy in Deuteronomy 28, the blessings and the curses, we know why we're here. But why are we still here as a collective people? And in that sense, for over 200 and some years, we have made a choice to be the people that were under the curses and remain there and remain married to that which oppressed us. And we even invest in that which oppresses us. And in that sense, we make ourselves mental free slaves. We're free, but we're still slaves by our own mind and desires. We love Walmart and Foot Locker. You dig it? Can't get away from Walmart. But why? Why? Nobody would stay on a job where they beat you, and then you get up from the beating and you go to the time clock and somebody cuts your hand off, and then you run, try to get a napkin, and somebody pushes you in the bathroom and beats you up again. Nobody would put themselves through that except for us. And that's why we haven't gotten reparations, and that's why the spirit of prophecy has not alleviated our condition, because part of our condition is self-inflicted. I don't know if I went too far or said too much.
No, you did good. Moray,
you good, Moray,
can I just ask a quick? Can I ask a quick follow-up to that, Moray, please?
Sure. I'll get in after you. Go ahead, my brother.
All right, I'll just ask one quick one. All right, so this is to either Brother Edwards and Brother Cassell, because now we're touching on something else that I think pops up in the curses that we kind of overlooked, and that's the being stricken with madness part. Right?
Yeah.
How much of this what I consider post-traumatic slave disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder, how much of this hinges on that? How much of what's going on in our community hinges on that, thus being the need for us to really focus as intelligent men, men of color, saying if there is something wrong, you need to go get some help. Don't be afraid to go talk to someone. How much of this hinges on that? And is that part of the RBG movement in saying, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody and get rid of these these mental issues because it's just a stigma. It's just like having a cold. You can go get it fixed. How much of that?
I think it's all up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, let me cut in this one real quick, and you can come right after me, Mike.
No, go ahead, brother. Hit it.
I think that this is something that a lot of people should look into, something called epigenetics, right? And one of the things
I teach on that, by the way. Yeah.
Okay,
that's awesome.
That's great.
That's
great. You perfectly understand.
Yeah, epigenetics is something that we have. I'm studying myself. As Brother B.A. speaking, most definitely.
Oh, that's great. And we all could be on one accord. And like the experiment they did, like with the rat. How
with the
they
rat.
get terrified of something, and then it passes down to their descendants to naturally be afraid of that thing. Yep. And I think that something that we were taught to be afraid of is success. Because think about it, in slave times, if that young boy stood out too much, he would become a stud, he would become sold or something like that for high dollar. And mama didn't want her son sold off, so she would teach her son not to stand out. And it becomes something that's passed on generation to generation. And that's why I brought up earlier is that a lot of us lack the faith that it takes to overcome that. It takes a lot of faith in something more than yourself to overcome that. You got to believe in the word that the Most High gave, that through the blood of Christ we can overcome all this.